road. Later, later. We go fix them nonsense later. Later, later. So as for now, I just watch a man a bumper right there. Party up for the whole day. You know I spree outside the fetters lively. Drinking rum, no chaser, no chaser. It's me and the team outside, yeah. Once a year we just play the mass, so baby don't try to style me. I promise to take a small wine this time, but not. We take a jam and go through. Girl, one wine never hurt you. Maybe I'm back, nothing can stop me from my fun, no. Later, later, we go fix this argument later. Later, right now my vibes are set for the road. Later, we go fix them nonsense later. Later, so as for now, I just watch a man a bumper right there. Party up for the whole day. You know I spree outside the fetters lively. Drinking the rum, no chaser. It's me and the team outside, yeah.
WEFM, the new fresh sound. WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
And we are back with you for another commentary segment here on our Activated Mornings program on WEFM. Time here in SVG, it is 8:46, and it's time for us to get...
Yes. And a very good morning again to everybody. And I want to touch, maybe this might seem a little more academic, but the NDP has come out clearly in video, and sometimes this just really goes over some people's heads. Well, they're center right. What is that really?
Yeah, they're going over my head.
Well, if there's a center right, then everyone should know there's what's called a far right. And a far right party, as we know it, we've seen Europe grappling with this. Far right politics characterized by ultra-nationalists, anti-immigration, and more authoritarian in their views. But the anti-immigration aspect that you're seeing in certain parts of France, certain parts of Germany today, and so forth, and many other parts of the world where there's even tribalism, as in certain parts of Africa, has been profound. And then center-right. What really center-right? Well, you've got to know what is left and what is center-left. We're not going to go into those definitions because that'll soak up the time, but more a center-right party is not as extreme as that of the far right, but still has a number of those remaining principles. You know, center-right parties generally support conservative economic policies. And we know the British Conservative Party. For any of you who've ever lived in England and you're able to compare the Labour Party in England with the Conservative Party, that Conservative Party is a center-right. Then you have the United States, the Republican Party. Even though some people would consider them as far-right leaning, they are really a center-right party. And there was a grouping of countries called the SDU, in which the NDP belonged to that grouping. You know, Eugenia Charles belonged to that grouping. The Conservative Party, the Republican Party. And it's to understand what they really believe. Some core principles. They believe in privatization. They believe that government should not own things or be the center for the economy. You should better. And in many of these countries, I went with Margaret Thatcher. She privatized so many things. Now, of course, the United States, things are naturally privatized. But I recall that in the 90s, there was a wave of these type of parties going to privatize the private to Vinlec. In fact, ownership, whether it was people who just had shares and dividends, they weren't just investing because they love their country. They wanted dividends at the end of the year. So the prices for electricity in these countries unexpectedly just started to rise. And for other type of prices, the end all in more recently along the same center-right type thing of privatization, of not just entities like Vinlec and CWSA, and you may not know of those, but they've been outwardly calling for privatization, selling shares in the port, the Argyle International Airport, and the hospital. And it is the hospital that I want to focus on, everybody. It is surprising we are a country in which to get a chest x-ray, it's a region of 20 EC dollars. People used to go around collecting sponsored sheets to go get a CAT scan or MRI in another country. Those things are now available here in St. Vincent, and they are cheap compared to what you would pay in other countries. Literally thousands of dollars in other countries. These things are just real dirt cheap here. And a host of things I could list. Owns those shares will want some dividends at the end of the month, at the end of the year, as the case might be. And essentially, prices have to be increased. Prices have to be increased. And so it has been not surprising, but yet not surprising. At least one person in the NDP, Sinclair Leacock, has been coming out, we are going to have to privatize. You don't hear this from other persons. Leacock has been the leader of this, but it weighs very heavily because he's telling essentially what the NDP is going to do. They're going to privatize, and the impact is going to be great. Now, why is it privatizing? I'm going to mention a word that I know my panelists hate to hear about when I mention CBI. Oh, yeah,
It's our doc says a word, you know, not letters, but
CBI.
it's a word.
CBI. Oh my God, the governments of the region that have engaged in CBI are no longer making the money they used to make. Their GDP has fallen. And as a result, the NDP that was thinking they might have had a cash cow don't have that problem. Realize they're not privatization. When somebody knows that every month the government pays out $35 million in wages each month, saying you're going to pay an extra wage, that is not easy. Where are you going to find that money from in a given month? But the process, whether you borrow it or you have to pay it back, the process of privatization of the port, privatization of the hospital, privatization of AIA, privatization of even Vinlec means that they can get some cash. But it also means that your for port, for hospital fees, whatever would take place at the airport, that would have to make the money to pay the dividends on the people who now own the airport or own the shares, you know. And it's important to know what center-right parties. Leacock is right. They are a center-right party that is going to go along with what other center-right entities do. And privatization is one of those things. Watch out for that.
All right. So I know that you said in your commentary that you've only heard Leacock speak on this. Do you think that this is a position that the party itself holds to, or could it just be this is Leacock speaking?
You see, unfortunately, this is one of the issues that has up. There are not too many persons with the experience to speak on these things. I would say Leacock has a fair amount now of experience. He's been talking about these things for a while. Others, when you talk, you have to be able to back it up with more talk. So you leave it away. It's better to talk. I can fix this road. I can put up these floodlights. I'm going to do this and do those things. Those are the simple things that you could talk about. And that's what's been happening. Leacock has gone according to creed. A center-right party, we privatize. A scorpion stings, you know what I mean? A center-right party privatizes. It doesn't believe that government should be involved to that degree in the ownership of healthcare, ownership of a port, and so forth. It believes that the private sector, so as he said, there's no reason why he mentioned certain supermarkets should own the shares in the port. You know, the question to your answer to your question is that he's repeated it once, twice. I've sent you videos. He's repeated it once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times. And his leader hasn't said he should stop. He's not adhering to what the party believes. He's just silent. And silence, as we know, suggests that you really deep down have agreement. It's just that you may be afraid because of your own weaknesses to be able to talk about it.
All right. So I can't defend or state anything really on this.
How you can defend this?
No. No. Hold on, Doc. I cannot defend or counteract this particular point in any sort of way, right? No, but Dustin, as a regular citizen of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, right?
Okay, so what?
Should
you give that? So what?
No, Doc.
Okay, so all right. All right.
All right. My question as a regular citizen. So hearing what you are saying this morning, and should the NDP get into office, if they do indeed decide to go down this particular road, would we as citizens, number one, know ahead of time? And two, would we have a voice in this not happening, given what the consequences that could be with regarding privatizing some of our services in particular? Would we have a say in it?
Trump said he's going to be a dictator from day one, if I could say that on this stage.
I don't know if we really go down the road of Trump.
Leacock, even in the midst of silence, said we are going to privatize. We're going to privatize the port.
Right. So my question as a citizen, if we are not in agreement with this, so if as a citizen we're not in agreement with this, can our voices be heard for this not to happen?
Yes.
Okay. So
your voices can be heard, and on November the 27th.
I'm talking about after the 27th. If it is stated that they really and truly do wish to go down this road, what avenues do we have within our own power to not have it happen?
And I suck my teeth and something happens to me, I would say I should have reported it to the police. I should have taken the necessary steps.
Okay, as a preemptive, don't vote for them because of this particular matter.
I am asked to do a commentary. I could comment on 16 things at the same time. I'll lose you. You understand? You say Thompson all over the place. Thompson be Bible last night and he drink some strong rub or something. So you see? What I'm saying to you is that I'm talking on this subject.
Right. And in relation to this subject, and in relation to this subject, if they do, hold on. And in relation to this subject, if they do get into office and they do decide to go down this particular road, what can we do as citizens to not have it happen?
I'm saying there's very little you will be able to do.
Collectively,
you can collectively do it at the right time. Roleza, I think you see what I'm saying. collectively.
I see that you're avoiding to answer my question.
No, you're avoiding to understand what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying, but you are saying don't vote for them completely because if this is something, if this is one part, if this is one part of what they're putting forward, don't vote for them completely because of this one part.
I tell you, it's a fundamental part. There are small parts. A road here needs fixed. Vote for me because I can fix that road and put the floodlights up. But I'm saying to you, this is a fundamental economic, at the core of economics. I'm saying to you, the first question you ask me is, what if Leacock is just saying this on his own? I am telling you that this is the core of the center-right parties in the world.
And I am asking you.
So what I'm saying to you, the scorpion stings. Don't play with it. If you say, the scorpion ain't gonna sting me because I got Q-Tex on my nails or I put on a cream so that I repel it. I'm saying to you that in terms of this subject,
don't vote for them completely.
Of the economics, answering your question, if you don't want the privatization, right? You know, what was the song? If you don't love me now, you love me later. How it goes? I am saying to you that you know in advance whether you're gonna get caught off.
All right,
Gerald Thompson.
So fundamentally, Anna, what could possibly happen? Don't vote for them because it could happen.
I'm saying to you
because we've heard Leacock say
if there's a road outside your house and that's what bothers you most, right? And a drain on back street that you see a pothole there and so forth, and you know you can't understand why it ain't fixed. Those are important things, but I'm saying in terms of your pocket and
serious, right?
You know I'm answering your question. You don't know I'm answering your question. I am saying to
you are answering my question by saying don't vote for them.
I am a medical doctor. I would tell you, do something now, not after your cancer.
Yeah, okay, so tell me no.
Better than cure.
You could tell me so no, right? And I still end up with
prevention is better than cure.
But we do recognize that even though prevention is better than cure, things still happen. And when things happen, I'm asking what matter or what course of redress is there for us as regular citizens to not have this happen? Often this to not go through.
There is chemotherapy. We can cut out the cancer. There's all these kind of things that can take place. But you already have cancer, and the cancer has a way of growing out of proportion and coming back and biting you. You know, around the world, the economies that have gone down, slipped down the rabbit hole and had a tough time coming back. And people say, if I did know, if I should have listened to Dr. Thompson. You know what I mean? I should have listened to Leacock because he was telling me what he's going to do. I didn't believe him. I thought it was Pecan. I thought it was only he alone was talking, and I don't like him. I prefer listening to Philip Jackson, and I prefer listening to somebody else who weren't talking about that. So as a result, I didn't know because me don't listen to Leacock so much. But I'll tell you something on this fundamental issue of the economy, right? This basically is a large percentage of what we should be concerned about. Right? And it goes back to the fact, the CBI, Dianna's favorite word, CBI, isn't coming there to give them the money that they thought they would get to do programs. They got to get the money from some other source. They got to sell. You understand?
I just find it interesting that I've never heard you all address the issues. You all, as in you and your fellow colleagues in ULP and your supporters who join in with you, but especially the politicians. I've never heard you all address the issues raised by the Vincentian citizens about the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. As much as I've heard you all address Leacock's mention of the privatization, that seems to bother you all way more than us talking about what we have to encounter when we go to the place that deals with us in our sickness. Yes. But yes. It's also interesting.
No, I'll tell you something. I want to answer your question. the major response to Milton K. Memorial Hospital, because I've had an opportunity to work there, not in any formal way, but I have been able to watch the healthcare system. I know it. When I was a young student, before I got into medicine at the age of 16, I went down there with Dr. Gordon Monroe. I used to. So I've seen the hospital. I used to go down there with Dr. Freddie Ballantyne when he was doing his cardiology whilst I was a medical student. The response to it is we're building what's called a state-of-the-art.
I don't want to know what you're building. I'm talking about Milton Keynes that has been here.
Right now. What some people have said, let's knock it down and build it over.
Dr. Thompson, that's so far from my point.
Let me ask you a question. Knock it down to build it over, because it was built in a colonial era in which they've tried to repair it and do a kind of I don't want to call it a dirty dumpling, but the building of it leaks. It can't get fixed in a way without moving out the patients, without really getting certain things done to clear it out. It has a brand new pediatric section, which is wonderful. However, the new state-of-the-art, which will finish by the end of next year, is going to be the acute referral hospital is going to be a highly computerized state-of-the-art entity that will address a lot of the problem and allow the time to now fix physically a lot of the space in the hospital that's now occupied by patients. And this is one of the things many people don't say. How do you repair a port? How do you fix back a port without using it? How do you fix a hospital?
Well, when I speak about the issues of the hospital are more than just infrastructural problems. There are several issues that have come up over the years. It's not just about the infrastructure, but that's it.
All right. So I noticed that there were persons calling during this segment. We are over time. So we are going to, if what? You going to get, you don't get the messages that we get to know.
No, I show we get, because
we have talked to us. We'd have talked to us, so we could persons who want to lend their voice to discussion.
There people can call and say I want my talk to us time. I want my talk to us time.
No,
Thompson out. Let me have the talk to us time. I want this. I want to talk about Trump and something like that. That you can hear that.
And you see, with Doc extending this part of it, is taking up your talk to us time. Yes, so if you come after him during that time, I totally understand. All right. So Doc, we are headed on out. All right. Time right now, it is.